Hi guys, I'm here with another scrap room tour. I have made some changes to my scrap room and I had a couple of requests to share the overall layout. I do create kind of every once in a while when I have something to say about storage, I create my craft room or my scrap room Sunday videos, or Scrap Room Saturday, depending on when I get the video uploaded. And so the layout of my room has changed a little bit, and I just wanted to share with you guys how my room is looking these days. The major change that I made was I actually switched that island table right there for this table. So that table used to be where that is, and that used to be where that is. And I've also had to accommodate a couple of new people in my scrap room. So my daughters now share my space with me. I had it all to myself for a while, but we had to make some changes upstairs and make a guest bedroom in what used to be their playroom and craft room. So we have shifted things around, and I brought some of their craft room storage stuff down here, and they typically use that table right there. And we try to keep it pretty clean so that I can use it for overflow, and I often will lay out my layouts there, and sometimes I'll use my trimmer over there. So we try to keep it pretty tidy. We'll see how that goes though. Anyhow, I'm just going to come in. If you've seen other scrap room videos of mine, a lot of, especially the very last big one that I did, which was about a year ago, a lot of this will be the same, but come along with me and I'll share it with you anyways, because I know I have some new YouTube subscribers who might not have seen my overall layout yet. I'm going to start by showing you guys this wall. So this wall has changed a little bit since I last did my tour, so I'll tell you how I have it set up. So these bottom drawers right there are mostly card making. So I have Stampin' Up stamps in the bottom two. Then I have like card blanks and envelopes and stuff for making cards there. And then this is stickles, so it's not really card making supplies, but I don't use my stickles all that often, so I just keep them in there. I keep them upside down and in a watch box. You know, from the days when we used to wear watches on our wrist. And then down here, these are kind of like drawers that I don't use very much. So we have specialty paper, file folders, and watercolor paper, and rub-ons. And so I don't use rub-ons all that often. I have a lot of rub-ons that I have put aside for mixed media, but they don't last very long, so they might not be good anymore. And then in here, I just keep like print packs for my printer, and I sometimes like to use file folders for making tags out of. And then specialty paper like canvas and just like overhead transparency paper and that sort of thing. So then this drawer is mostly just for, I mean, it's not really a drawer, it's one of these trays. I got it from Winners. And I mostly just use it to keep my glitter tape in. My glitter ribbon or whatever this stuff is called. Yeah, I guess it's glitter tape. And yeah, so I keep a glitter tape right there. This is a binder that has all of my page protectors. It has cat hair all over it, because every time I take it out, the cat wants to lovey-dove up to it. So I keep all of my Becky Higgins page protectors in there. Here's where I keep my current layouts. It's just in a Becky Higgins box. So then when I do my Out with the Old video, I just kind of pull this out, and all of my layouts for the month are right here, along with their little sheets of paper, which I just file those away someplace in case I ever need to refer to them. This is a tray that I just keep some materials for a class that I'm working on. I'm developing a class on scrapbooking through grief, and so all of the layouts that I'm creating related to that go in here. And then this is my photography bag. It has a lot of stuff that's specific to doll photography in particular, but it just has like my little tripod and some extra lights and some stuff like that. And then this is my camera, and this is my bag that I bring geocaching when we go. And this is my strap that I use. It's a I forget the name of it. Then, right here, I have more page protectors, because a girl can't have too many page protectors. I actually bought more, like a big box of page protectors, forgetting that I had a whole bunch, and so that was a bit of a stupid purchase, but I'm sure I will use them eventually. So I moved this stuff used to be someplace else, and I had to free up some space for my kids' craft storage. So these are old dies. There are some Stampin' Up! Dies and this alphabet strip right here that I showed on a recent video. And these are just templates that I have for dies that I have, so that I can remember what you put glue on, like what parts of it, just because I don't make those very often. So they're just templates for some steel rule dies that I have. Then I have like my cutting accessories here, like for the long strips. And then this is an alphabet die set that I got from Stampin' Up! This is basically junk. It's from a long time ago, like maybe from 2 years ago, Project Life stuff that I never ended up using, and some a class that I did for True Scrap, and a whole bunch of stuff that I just haven't put away yet. All goes there. I know it's been a long time. I really should have put that stuff away. Anyhow, then this is my layering tray, and I just put like small, thin pieces of paper or paper that has texture or some type of interest to it. I put right here, including I've got some waffle paper rolls there from Stampin' Up! And this is just like a bag that I got that I thought I could use for layering, so that goes there. And this is one of the drawers that, so there's this, and then there's another one that I have in my back closet, and they are the drawers that go in that unit right there. Then this drawer, this little cubby, is where my gelatos live, right in here. And then this is where my masks all are. I don't have a ton of masks, but I have a good assortment. And then this is where I keep my glass cutting mat and also my self-healing mat. Then in this other Becky Higgins tray is where I keep my thin dies, my wafer thin dies. I just take a piece of chipboard that's 8.5 by 11, and then I put a piece, either glue, or a lot of times these magnet sheets have adhesive on the back of them. I either glue or just stick a piece of this magnet sheets that you can get at Walmart. Elmer's makes them, but then there's a couple of other brands that make them too, and you can get these at Walmart. They're fairly pricey, but it's a really handy way to store steel rule dies. Not steel rule dies, the wafer thin dies. So these are some MFTs and some, I don't know what all of these are, but I have a lot of nestabilities from back in the day when I first started scrapbooking, and I made a lot of cards with these. And then I do have a grand caliber, so I have these giant dies. I don't use my grand caliber very often, and I bought it so that I could make mini album pages using these dies. And so I did use these a lot when I first got my grand caliber, and I used to make a lot of mini albums, but I just don't anymore. So I'm thinking about getting rid of my grand caliber and my large dies because I just don't use them often enough. So that's that. And then I guess I'll talk about what's on top here. This is all new, so this used to be kept someplace else, but these are my card related stamps. So I have some Lawn Fawn stamps that are new, meaning I bought them within the past year. They're not that new. And then I have other stamps, and I do keep my stamps on these sheets. I'll show you these. There's a video about this, but I keep my stamps. Oh, there's an extra one. On these sheets. So it's a piece of white cardstock, and then I take the insert that comes from the stamp and I glue it onto the piece of paper. And then on the back side of that cardstock, I have just attached a piece, just using my glue gun, I just attached a piece of transparency, and then the stamps cling to the transparency, and then to keep them nice and clean, I just attach another sheet, and that sheet is attached with a piece of clear packing tape. And so then my stamps are all contained, and I can see them easily just by flipping through. And it basically, means that I can flip through them. And it basically allows me to flip through my whole stamp library just by kind of like going like this. So I can see, and these are just card related stamps, and that's some sentiments, so I keep them in there. Because basically this is kind of what I grab for making cards. And then what I've done with my Stampin' Up! Stamps is I just stamped samples of them all so that I know what Stampin' Up's, because those are usually what I use for cards as well. So I do have a whole bunch of Stampin' Up! Stamps. I'm not sure why I have so many because I'm not such a fan of the stamps. But anyways, I do have a lot of them. And then the other thing that I did is I got tired of Stampin', so I just cut out from the catalog which ones I have so I could remember. So that is kind of like all card relating stamping all in one bin. So that's handy to have. And then I keep my embossing folders right here because I am more likely to use those for card making than any other craft, although I certainly will use them for scrapbooking as well. But I think it makes sense to keep them here. And then I haven't filled all of these. These are drawers that go into one of the newer Recollection storage cubes. And I didn't put the handles on the top, on the fronts, and I'm just using it as kind of like a little mini shelf. So I can put whatever stuff I want in there. Right now I just have my Xyron X and some vellum adhesive. It's just spray vellum adhesive. I actually hate that stuff. It gets all over the place. But I don't know why I have it. Then I also have another sticker maker, the bigger one. This is the 2.5-inch sticker maker, which I haven't used in ages, but I'm thinking maybe if it's out on my table, I might use it. I think the kids might really enjoy it for things. Then I'm going to be using this surface right here, and I just put a piece of foam board here so that I didn't have like a gap. I think the higher you stack these, the bigger the gap gets. And plus I've moved them around a lot, so a lot of mine are more wobbly than they are when you first buy them. I've had these for a long time. So anyways, just so that it has one surface, I just put a piece of foam board over there, and I rounded the corner so that you don't poke yourself as you come around the corner. So that's that. And then I just keep any of my new acquisitions. So I went to the art store and I bought this stuff. And then this is some stuff I got from a Lawn Fawn order that I made not too long ago. And I like to keep my new stuff out before I put it in with my stash, just because, I don't know, I feel, I love coming in and seeing my new stuff. And it can sometimes get lost if I put it away too soon, and then I find it and I'm like, oh, I would have been using that if I remembered. So I'm not going to talk in too much detail about my paper storage, but this is where I store my paper. There's a couple of other things in here too, like some magazines. These are magazines that I have layouts in, and one of them, like the one that I was on the cover for and that sort of thing. Then I have some old kits that I didn't finish and didn't kill enough that I wanted to put it into my stash, so I have some kits there. And just some more inspiration books and that sort of thing, and just a whole bunch of paper, and then more paper right there. I've got a couple books in there because I'm working on like I said, I'm developing a class, so I have those 2 books just for reference there. And then right here is where I keep my buttons and badges. So these are my flare badges, and I just ran some sticky strip across. You can see the light reflecting on them. And then I just stick the flare badges on there, and they pop off pretty easily. So there's that. And then I keep my buttons in one of these cases, and I have them sorted by color. And I love having them sorted by color. They're really pretty. I don't have a ton of buttons, but I do like to have them. I don't use them all that much, but it's nice when I do need a button. I'm more likely to use buttons on cards than on layouts. It's good to have a good variety. I keep my cards that I've made right here, and almost all of my cards are lifts from other designers, so that's why I don't share. A lot of people ask me, why don't you share some cards on your channel? But I really don't. I'm really just recreating what somebody else did. It's kind of like sharing your paint by numbers or something. Like, it's not that it's not that creative of a thing to do. So I think if you're looking for card inspiration, my channel isn't the best place, because you're just going to see If I were to share cards, it would just be a replication of what you could see other places. One of the places that I find the most inspiring is the Lawn Fawn website. So what I love to do is buy a set of Lawn Fawn stamps, and then I go to the blog, and if you just, on the blog, they have labels for tags, and if then you just go to the many thanks tag, and you'll get like everything that their design team and users have made with this. So it's awesome. And they have a Flickr group too, and it's also organized quite nicely, I think. I can't remember. So this is where I keep my washi tape, and these are they're developed for washi tape storage. You can get them at Michael's in sets of 2, so that's what they look like. And they come with a little dowel that you can actually put the washi tape on, and then there's a little sharp edge here that you can, it can be like storage and a dispenser. But I don't use it for that because I can store a lot more in them if I use it this way. And I want to bring, when I'm using washi tape, I don't want to come over here and get a bit. I want to bring the whole roll over there. So the dowel method just wasn't working for me. So I have them stacked like that. And then I did need a bit of overflow. So this is just one of those Martha Stewart storage units that match with the other ones that I have in various places. So there's that and that. And then I have my 6x6 paper pad storage, which I've shown you before. I keep it in one of these drawers from the 4-drawer units, and I just took off there's Maya. I took off the handle and I just use it as a shelf for my 6x6 paper pad storage, and it works really well. And I should really get rid of some of this, but I think I'll wait till I'm full, and then and then I'll start getting rid of these. So it's kind of like, these are my oldest and these are my newest. So then I keep my little bucket of tags. I've shown this on a recent video, so I don't need to talk too much about that. And then I keep my Project Lifey type of pocket page, little taggy, envelopey types of things right here. That's in a recent video too. Keep packing tape there for some weird reason. And then here, up there, I have cards from YouTubers, and then these are flowers that my kids make. Every year they seem to make flowers for me for Mother's Day, so I just keep sticking them in there. And everybody who has sent me a card on YouTube, I keep the cards on display. The newest ones are down here, and then the older ones are up in my bedroom, kind of like in my dressing area type of thing, because I do hang on to every single one of them because they make me feel good. Then over here I have more storage. It's sort of like display and storage. So I do collect Disney Vinylmation for every city that I go to that has a Disney store, and every time I go to Disney. Not like I go to Disney all that often. I've been there twice. But I like to get some Vinylmation when I do go to a place that has a Disney store, including Disney. And then I have my little Charmkins from when I was a little girl. My mom was hanging on to those and she gave them to me recently, so I have those on display. I have embossing powder there, and then just little things, random things. I don't know what to say about this. It's kind of a hodgepodge of stuff, some decorative and some crafty stuff I don't use very often. This is a little teacup that's filled with little things of ink. And then I do keep my chipboard and non-sticker letters right here. I was having this on my wall, but I took it down because I was worried that it was going to rip. I did, and I didn't want to ruin the paint, and as I took it off, I did ruin the paint, so darn it. Anyways, I'll fix that. So then I do keep my trimmer right here. It's not the greatest place for it. I think I don't want to keep it on the kids' table because I'm not always in here when they're here. So I like it tucked away in the corner here. My kids are old and they know not to use it. I wouldn't have this around toddlers just because even though it's got like a guard on it, I'm just weird and I don't want to have that kind of stuff around a young child. But my kids know not to use that, I hope. I hope I've ingrained that into them. So this is my letter sticker storage, and I've talked about that recently. This is where I keep my kit stuff in there and on top, and then on the pegboard above. And this is my little spinny craft storage thing. I think it's from Making Memories. And I keep my, you know, stuff, my most used tools in there. I keep some baby wipes, battery charger, and these are my roller date stamps. So I have a whole bunch of them. And then I keep my, that's just a Christmas one, so that's why it's separate from the others. And this is my little piece of foam that I use when I'm stapling without, like in the middle of the page. And then these are mist samples. You see me reach for these sometimes. These are a Tim Holtz steel rule die, and I just cut a bunch of them with plain white paper and mist samples. I have a coffee warmer. And then this is the thing, I get a lot of questions about this. This is what I keep my wood veneer in. I do have two other ones down there that this one goes on top of. They don't attach because they're a bigger size, and that's just where I put bigger pieces of wood veneer that don't fit in these. So I have these ordered by shapes. They're not all, like, for example, some arrows, there's arrows in here from a couple of different packages of arrows. So some of them are Studio Calico and some of them are Lawn Fawn or Freckled Fawn. So I do mix packages. I don't keep track of what's what. And then these resin stars I put in here too, just because they're kind of like wood veneers. They're just colored. They kind of have the same kind of effect. Then this is my main workspace. You guys, this is what you see when I'm doing my process videos. I keep my favorite colored markers there and my favorite neutral markers there. I have my sewing machine there, which doesn't work, but it's a light half-size one, so I can pick it up with one hand and move it right to my work surface and do my sewing, and then just push it back. And I'm done, but it's not very effective when it's not working. But I can't decide if I'm just going to say, okay, screw it, I'll just bring my stuff over to that sewing machine when I need to sew, or if I'm going to pay some money and get somebody to service that and get it working properly again. I haven't decided. So then I have my Making Memories wall embellishment center, and it holds all of my inks and mists and a couple of other things, including my, I'll just show you a bit of a quick close-up. It doesn't really need much of an explanation, just so you can see some of the things that are on it. All of my mists, and then some inks, and the big roller date stamp, and my blocks. Yeah, so that's that. This is going to be a long video, I'm sorry you guys, I'm at 26 minutes already. Embossing stuff, including embossing powders. Oh, that's Dazzling Diamonds, but embossing powder I just keep in these with a little spoon, and this is I usually use that mat when I am embossing, and then I have this little tray of stuff that I pull out. It has embossing ink and a dryer sheet and some brushes and a little, you know, that's all my embossing stuff. In those little pull-out drawers, I have like stuff I don't use very much. So my re-inkers are all right there. My blending stuff and inking tools. And then I have markers that are my less favorite ones. And then this is the beginning of my scrap drawers. So I keep my scraps sorted by color. And when the drawers are this full, it's really not a very effective thing for me. So I need to go through and really get rid of some of these scraps because it's hard for me to see them. I end up only seeing the ones on top. And so what I will probably do is go in and take all the ones on the bottom and just get rid of them. But I do sort my scraps by color. So it's black and white and gray, and then brown and beige, and then multicolored, and then, you know, like pink. So, you know, pink, for example, is more, I try to not have it higher than about this so that I can easily go in and look through and pick out the color that I need for scraps. So that's what that looks like, and they're all the same. Then this is probably my most used bank of drawers. So we have stickers. You might have seen me pull this out, and this is getting to be, again, it's getting to be a little bit too full. I like to have lots of drawers that are only a little bit full. I would rather have things spread out in that way because it's a much more effective, efficient way for me to get at things. So I really need to pare down my stickers so that I can get them better. And then like this is more like what I like it to be. Just a few, not so many. I mean, there's lots on this side, but that's because they're labels and I'm obsessed with labels. So then these are borders, which I really don't use borders all that much, but I do kind of keep them all here. There's a bunch of stuff in here that I don't use very often. Anyhow, I keep my borders here. Then these are word stickers. So all those little chit-chatty type of things go in here. And this is a very, like, even though there's not many things in this drawer at all, this is how I like it to be. I wish all my drawers were like that. Ribbon. So I drew a little ruler on here so that I can know the length that I'm getting, especially for card making. I usually know what length I want because I make all my cards are A2 cards, or most of them, and so I just keep them all here on their spools. I keep a ribbon cutting pair of scissors here. It has a ribbon tied around it to remind guests that these are my special scissors, don't use them on paper. And I even keep a little roll of tape here that I can use to put the ribbon, obviously I didn't do it with this one, but so that it stays all rolled up instead of unraveling. And then, oh, sorry about that. This is where I keep my twine and string and that sort of thing. I do keep my heat gun right there, and I have a little Stampin' Up! Collapsible basket that I just hang on one of those hooks right there. Okay, so up here I have my punches. They're on, I think they're Umbra curtain rods, and then underneath of it I have a Jet Max. This was, I forget what this was supposed to be used for, but I think it came with little drawers in it. I don't remember. Anyways, it might be just a little cube thing. I keep my Stampin' Up! Markers there, as well as my ink pads. And I also keep my little remote control for my lights. Just because, the reason that those are under remote control is because the light switch for that light is way up there, and there's no way I'm going up there to reach that every time. So then here I have my pocket scrapbooking section. So I have my current This Life Noted kit right here in this tray. I have used it, so that's why there's not much left of it. Then I keep these boxes. These are just empty boxes. This one is Becky Higgins and the other one is a Studio Calico Project Life box. And I keep them here because if I'm going to do my pocket scrapbooking up on the couch, I'll just bring a bunch of stuff in this or in this. That one's a little bit bigger, and bring it up with me. Then this is my tray of This Life Noted leftovers. And so these are leftovers from the past 3 or 4 months, including leftover photos in case, you know, I didn't get to scrapbook something. There's a lot of like wood veneer pieces, and I often will go back and reuse the letter stickers, so I keep those on top, and there's just like a bunch of stuff in there. And what I do is, after a couple of months of things not being used in that, I put it in an envelope and I send it off to somebody. Because if I'm not going to use it, it should be used. I feel bad having perfectly good scrapbooking supplies sitting in a bin someplace not being used. So that's what I do with it, because I get a new kit every month and I don't use the entire thing because I'm a monthly pocket scrapbooker instead of a weekly one, so I don't use nearly as much as a lot of people do. So then I keep my enamel dots in this little thingy. You guys have seen it before. It's just, they're from Michaels. They're more of the things that I keep my wood veneers in. They're just little bins from Michaels. And then I keep my clips right here. Yeah, I have a lot of clips. And then I keep my die cuts in here, I've shown this before in a video, so I don't need to go into too much detail, but frames and more frames. And what's this? Overlays. A couple of extra bins just for putting stuff in. More punches that didn't fit on my rails, and then that's just some printing paper and some extra die cuts. Really, these belong in here, and I'm going to like purge that pretty soon because that's a lot. So here's a change. I have moved my die cut stuff because it used to be in this table right there underneath of it, and because I had to move things around to accommodate my kids, I moved all of my steel rule dies and my Big Shot up to here. Up here I keep my crocodile and the spinner thing that Allison sent me with all of my blending tools. Those are doll clothes up there, and that thing has some sewing, so these two things have sewing supplies. And then that's my collection of pull-ups. And my printer and my sewing machine are out on my table, and then that's a photography area that I use for doll photography, but also for any projects like cards that I make or little gifts and stuff that I make. This is my mixed media bin, and I try to keep my mixed media supplies under control because I don't do much mixed media. So, but I do make canvases and that sort of thing every once in a while, and I do keep an art journal as well. Although I don't use it very often, I go through phases where I use it more. So I try to not buy too much mixed media because it's very usable. Like, you can use it. You don't need the latest and greatest stuff to do a beautiful work for mixed media, so I try to keep, like, these drawers have a lot of all of my mixed media supplies in it. Then this thing here has old scrapbooking supplies that I just didn't want to let go of when I did my big purge. So it has some card sentiments, some vintage stuff, some themed stuff, and then my Stampin' Up! Scraps go in the bottom too. And then I do keep my vellum and transparency scraps in here. This is my typewriter, and the back side of that I'll show you in a minute. So this is where, this is where I keep my non-card related stamps in this. I have them in the same kind of a storage thing. This is my stamping mat. My sister gave it to me. It is a mouse pad with a chevron on it. And then I have my Stampin' Up! Cleaner there. And then I keep my alphabet stamps in this. You guys have seen this before. It's a bag and bag. And I keep all of my alphabet stamps in there. So I have the two Scraptastic ones and some Kelly Perky ones and Mama Elephant. And some these I mostly use for mixed media, the ones that are in here. That's why they're kind of separate. I keep my little trimmer there and my little Project Life stamps right there. This is where I keep photos that I haven't scrapbooked yet. My label maker and all the tape that goes with it. Embellishments. These are mostly old embellishments that I don't use all that often. Lots of bling you see here. Oh yeah, right. I used to keep this bling all in one place, but it's here now. Yeah, so there's like little flowers and bling and kind of stuff from before. These are the two drawers you guys would have seen in a recent video. Chipboard, storage. Then I keep my brads. These are new brads, so they're not put in the package yet. But this is kind of like embellishments that are, oh look, I'm throwing bows around. Look, I love these bows. Love them. So I keep my brads and little trinkety things. I use these a lot for doll customization stuff, like for clothing and stuff. I do doll clothes for my kids' American Girl dolls as well as for pull-ups. So I keep my brads in this thing, and I just have these pieces of foam. Let me see if I can get one out. So brads used to come on these, and I just I squish them together so I can fit more brads in one piece of foam. And that way I can see them all, because if I just put them randomly in like this, then you'll see the bottoms of some of them and you can't really see exactly what you have. So I like keeping them like this. I don't use brads all that often, but I still love them, and I feel like I should be using them. And then what's down here? Tabs and doilies. You guys have seen me grab this drawer and have a look through it. These ones are Studio Calico. Somebody was wondering what my gold doilies are. They're Studio Calico doilies. And then this is all my sewing stuff. I have a skirt I need to fix and a bunch of threads and stuff. This is new too. I keep my Project Life cards, my Becky Higgins cards, which used to be up here, but I don't use them all that much. So that was some pretty prime real estate they were taking up. So I decided to take this drawer, take this storage shelf unit and remove some of the shelves so that it's a 2-shelf instead of a 4-shelf. And my cards are right here. So I can pull out the whole, I can pull it out like that if I pull out the shelf with it, and then I can kind of go through it and pick which cards I want. And then with this one, I have to take it actually out because it doesn't, the drawer, the shelf that it's on doesn't move. So yeah, obviously I have more Project Life cards than I need, but we use them for a lot of different things. We use them for teacher notes, I use them on cards, I use them for just like leaving a note for somebody. My kids use them a lot. Here's my adhesive drawer, just random adhesive. Tags. Oh, that's where my tags went. Oh my God. I knew I bought some of these tags and it didn't occur to me to look in the drawer with the word tags on it. Oh my God. So anyways, I have a bunch of tags that I didn't know I had. I'm glad I didn't buy more. I was gonna buy another box of these because these are my favorite size, but look, I still have some. So I don't need those after all. Oh my God. And then masks. And these, I know I have masks in another place, but these are the masks that I use less often. And if they're with the other masks, they tend to take up so much space that that I can't find the ones that I actually need. And so these I'm a lot more likely to use for mixed media. I'm gonna move a lot faster here because this is not as much scrapbooking related, but it is in my room, so I thought I'd share it with you guys. So I do have a photography area there. And then I have, this is kind of sewing doodads, jewelry making. So I have my little pieces of foam and my little things for making necklaces. These are page protectors, like office page protectors. This is stuff to do with sewing, my sewing book. And what's this? Sewing stuff, safety pins and stuff. And then this is jewelry making stuff. And then I have doll patterns, American Girl patterns. This is a Project Life for my old, I went through my old photos and I just Project Lifed them like really simply, really super simple. So there's like, I wouldn't call this a scrapbook, it's just pictures, and I had already cut these out. They were in a photo album, so I moved them, and then so I had photo albums that were already cut out, and I had a lot of stacks and stacks of 4x6 photos from like a different time in my life when I was, you know, getting perms and stuff. Like, hello, I had a perm. Yeah, so I mean, I wanted to keep these, but I couldn't quite remember what was what, so I did my best to kind of like add bits of journaling where I remembered stuff, or where there was something written on the back of the photo. I would try to write it down, but yeah, so that's kind of cool. Nice to have it all in an album instead of just every which way. Yeah, and I think I'm not done, obviously. It looks like I still have more to do. But I'm almost done. I thought I was done. Anyways, that's that. This has some jewelry making stuff, some templates for pocket scrapbooking. This is my current scrapbook that it's not finished, so every month when I do my Out with the Old video, the layouts go into this, and then when it's full, it goes upstairs with my other scrapbooks, and a new empty album comes here. And then that's floor tiles that I use for props for doll photography. These are Stampin' Up! Stamps that are on wood mounted, that are in those boxes. And then those are tools. I don't use tools all that often, but it's things like my circle cutter and like a Zutter distress doll, and punches that I don't use all that often, and an iron and little things like that. Styrofoam cutter. It is a basement, so I have to have a dehumidifier, and it is also a heater in the wintertime. And then this is basically just holding space. That is empty, and there's going to be a display cabinet here. It's from IKEA, and I've measured, and I'm pretty sure it's going to fit there. And it's going to be where I keep my dolls, because right here, I have to dust these babies too often, and I don't want to. So I'm going to have them in a display case right here. Then this is my sewing table. It used to be lower, so this table used to be there, so that's why the bulletin board kind of disappears behind. And if I needed more space, I can pull it out and open up that extension thing. So if I'm doing a big project, I can pull it out and just get rid of that garbage can, like move it. And then this is a lot of my kids' craft storage, so craft stuff. So I have fabric, there's more fabric behind there. That's like a basket that's filled with fabric. This is kind of doodads that I can put on doll clothes. And then these are all my kids' like craft coloring books and activity books and stuff. My kids each have an art supply thingy. These are projects I need to work on, like sewing projects I need to work on right now. And I keep my sewing tools that I use the most right there. Again, they're dangled too low because I've changed the height of the table. I need to move those up. My kids have decorated some of this with their American Girl things. I keep my iron right there, and this is an ironing pad. These are great to have because it means that I can now iron on this table without ruining the surface. So these are awesome. It was like 20 bucks, I think, at Fabricville. Really, really good purchase because I don't need to have an ironing board in here because there's no room for one. Sewing stuff. That's a doll book. Sewing stuff, sewing stuff, sewing stuff. Up here is just random stuff. Those are mini books that I have made. Here's some of my children's artwork on the wall. They each have a, whatever that's called, an easel. More of my kids' art stuff. So this is where my kids, these were just brought downstairs. They were in a different room upstairs, and it has all of their scrapbooking stuff and their like crafty stuff like pom-poms and felt and foam sheets and beads and that sort of thing. That's their painting supplies down there, and then they have scrapbooking stuff in those two boxes right there. And then that's more of their craft supplies. And then that one was my Jetmax, and I emptied it out, and they can put, I think they've got some more stuff to come down here, so that's where that stuff will go. And, oh yeah, I took another one of those drawers, like those. It came with 3, and so I just put all of their markers in one, all of their colored pencils in another, and then other miscellaneous stuff that they use a lot. So this is kind of their most used stuff, and they can just pull it out and use it when they want and then put it back. Almost done, almost done. This is my desk. It was my husband's grandmother's desk, and I think all of the kids in the family took their turns using it as a school desk as well. It is a really deep desk, so that means that these drawers are really, really long, and I can keep all kinds of stuff in there. So, for example, I keep typewriter ribbons here and colored pencils there. And so when I need to use colored pencils, which I don't use all that often, I can just pull them out. Like that's my Gamsol. Same thing with Copic markers. They're just right there. I don't have a ton, but I can just pull them out when I want to use them. And I mean, the drawer is incredibly long. It just keeps going and going. And then this is all my vintage camera stuff and my Instax and Diana and some older cameras, which I keep my old my like toy cameras. That's a fisheye. I say toy, but they're just it's called that because they're made out of plastic, but they actually do work. That's a fisheye camera, and then that's my Diana. And that's 210, and that's 35mm. And then that's just a bunch of stuff from some mini albums I made and decorative stuff. And then these are all wooden crafts that my dad made, except for these New York buildings. Those are from the Muji store in New York City. And then I have my computer, that's in my Cameo, that's where I do all my process videos I create right there. And I love having this big drawer because it's a great place to keep my silhouette mats and my Stampin' Up! Pads, which I don't use all that often anymore. And I keep batteries and Cameo stuff here. And cords for the computer. And here's where I keep, these are all my layouts sheets by year. This is from 2 years ago, this is last year, and then this one is so far this year. All the layouts I make. I don't need to keep those, but I make them, so I might as well keep them. And I'll show you in my closet. So in my closet I have junk, obviously, lots of junk right there. I keep that paper that Stampin' Up! Products come wrapped in because it's like big, long craft paper, and it makes a good table cover for that table when the kids do something messy, and aprons and that sort of thing there. And I need to hang up some hooks there so I can hang up my aprons. That stuff won't look so messy once the aprons are out of there. And then, oops, cat toy. And then these are my Scraptastic 12x12 bags, or 13x13 or whatever they are. This is a thing that I just keep all of my bags in. I know, crazy, right? But you wouldn't believe how often somebody in the house is like, do you have a Ziploc bag that's the good right size for this? And I'm like, I definitely do. I'm your lady when it comes to Ziploc bags. I've always got your size. So I do keep all of those Ziploc bags, and plus I also have some bags that I bought for different things. So I have like bags that are the right size for putting A2 cards in, and I have some like burlap bags from Studio Calico orders. And I have my thickers. I reordered some of my thicker bags right there, and these are for keeping stamps and die sets in. Then I have these two are Christmas, so instead of having Christmas and Halloween stuff, which are the only 2 times of year type of themed layouts that I do, I have them in here. So for Christmas, I have a drawer that has all of my Christmas themed stuff, including my stamps. So I just pull them out of my regular stash and keep them right here. And then I also have a shelf for Christmas. So this is all Christmas stuff too. Ribbon and cards and a bag of Christmas stuff from, this is from my, what was that called? December Daily. This is all my December Daily leftovers from this year. I have so many leftovers that I can do a December Daily this coming year without paying for it, like with just the supplies. So I'm excited about that. And then I do the same thing for Halloween. So I have a Halloween drawer, has all Halloween themed stuff, and then I have a Halloween shelf, which has all my paper. And then I have, this is a bunch of card workshops that I had for when I was doing, when I was a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. So these are card kits that I made that I just haven't done yet. And they make a really good activity for a kid's party or that sort of thing. So I'm just leaving them all kitted up, and I'll maybe do them when my kids are a little bit older. And then here's where I just keep some extra supplies. And I have another craft mat there in case a friend comes over to scrapbook, and I have a Scraproom, what is that called? Not a Scraproom-a-bob. It's, yeah, I think it's a Scraproom-a-bob. It's like a garbage bag and a cup holder, and it just screws onto your table. And when I have, when I have people over, I use that. So that is my room. Did I forget anything? Oh my God, that was a lot. So here's the overall look of it. Again. That is a light that I use for when I do scrap chats. It puts light on my face so I'm not too dark, because the rest of the room is lighter than this area right here, and you wouldn't see me. So there we go. Thanks so much for watching and hanging in there for this big long video.